Meanwhile, Islamic cleric Ahmad Gumi says bandits have devised a means to evade airstrikes by the Nigerian Air Force. In an article, Gumi says bandits migrate from areas the security agencies are engaging them to other places that are not hot for them. The Sheikh says the solutions to banditry are good intelligence gathering and policing.
And in the meantime, the presidency says the military is sending bandits to God to answer for their sins. Presidential spokesman Femi Adesina says the criminals that have terrorized states in the north were given a chance to turn over a new leaf, but they refused. He also says the military is cleaning up the country and making Nigerians proud. Mr. Adesina says the security challenges inherited by the Buhari administration mutated and became Hydra-headed.
Well-arise analyst and lecturer at Baze University, Abiodun Adeniyi, joins us now to discuss these issues. Abiodun, glad to have you join us.
Thank you.
On Newsnight. Well, security forces have begun what it calls one of their largest operations to neutralize bandits. But is telecom shutdown a well-thought-out plan? How far-reaching?
Well, when it comes to security matters, sometimes it can be very difficult to place our hands on it because we will ordinarily concede it to them that they will have done their studies, they will have done their research, they will have done their mapping, and of course they realize that what they have to do in the circumstances to shut down the telephone services. Of course, we know that when that is done, it's supposed to be temporary, but when it is done, other sectors of the system will be affected, businesses will be affected, interaction, ordinary, regular relationships will be affected. But it's not a big, it's also a sacrifice that we'll probably need to tolerate in this circumstance. Otherwise, if it was a regular kind of operation, I would have said, instead of just outright shutdown, maybe monitoring of the process of the interactions among the bandits, the criminals will have been better. But again, we want to concede it to them that they know better, they know what they are doing. And from reports so far, we have to be celebratory and probably urge them on, encourage them to continue the assault on these criminals, as the case could be. So we cannot come to conclusion, but other than encouraging them in this circumstance. Yeah.
Talking about sacrifices, we must commend our troops for their continued sacrifice to continue to keep us largely safe. But let me ask you, former President Goodluck Jonathan says, peace is the solution. We should embrace peace. Vocal cleric Sheikh Gumi, on the other hand, says it's intelligence gathering and policing that we need. What do you think will turn the tide on insecurity really? Because it seems like we've tried all of this, or haven't we?
Yeah, well, I think we're doing the best we can do in this circumstance, and I think all efforts have to continue to be on deck, really. But we have also made the argument that there are short and long-term causes of this crisis. One, we attribute it to deindustrialization, to overpopulation, to corruption, to misgovernance or the absence of governance, and of course disillusionment on the part of the citizens, on the youths, who now think that criminality should be the option. Do not forget the porous borders as well, the infiltration of our system with light and small weapons coming from the Sahel region. So all these factors are actually long-term reasons why we're having the rise of criminality in the northeast and maybe just in some other areas as well. But again, there are also short, long, and medium-term measures that we can take. The medium-term one is the one the military is doing, which is kinetic, matching them, taking them out, as the case could be, whether they're going to hell or not, nobody cares. But the important thing is that let them just be taken out so that we can have peace. That's the kinetic one, but we shouldn't also lose sight of the long-term measures, which is better governance, giving hope to the citizens, the youth particularly, and trying to ensure that there's integration and involvement in a democratic process so that nobody will feel a sense of exclusion, in the economic matrix of the country. As the case could be, when you feel hopeless, of course, it can be demeaning, and of course, it's a recipe for the breeding of nihilism, which we are seeing in those sections of the country.
Let me follow up on that question. This was asked. When Sheikh Gumi says the solution to banditry lies in good intelligence gathering and policing, he's stating the obvious. We could say that, but what should security agencies do with his claim that bandits have devised a means of evading airstrikes?
It's a very delicate revelation that he's making, whether he knows. But I think that he's been very prominent in the discourse around solutions to this banditry, and for him to come and make that kind of revelation, sometimes questions can be asked around how he has become aware of this. I want to know that he probably knows what he's saying, he knows what he's doing, and of course maybe the security agencies are also watching, but that can be revealing really. Whatever it is, we just have to, like I said earlier, encourage our troops or the security agencies to go all out and take these people out. And of course, again, it takes us back to the question of negotiating with them. What do we mean by negotiating in the circumstance? Negotiate with people who don't understand the meaning of negotiation in itself. Negotiation, you negotiate with parties that understand logic, that understand reason. But we're dealing with parties, who behave like an angry pride of lions, who are very beastly, ready to devour, who are dehumanized and ready to dehumanize every other person in the course of life, And so, it's just something that is not in sync, that is not in tandem. We know that we're in crisis times. People come up with their opinions. Opinion leaders air their opinion, which is very legitimate. But sometimes some opinion too can actually be much more problematic than they appear. Even though we concede to every citizen the right to air their opinion and to be concerned about finding solutions to the perennial problem of insecurity.
Do we still have more time?
Yeah.
Okay, very quickly, I just wanted to ask you, following up on the statement from, I know you've responded in a way to that statement from the presidency, saying that yes, being sent to their God to answer for their sins. But there's the other part where Mr. Femi Adesina says the military is cleaning up the country and Nigerians are now proud. Do you think it's too soon to be commending? Is it too soon to be celebrating and claiming victory?
Yeah, on the one hand, you may just say maybe we should tarry a while because, this is a long-drawn crisis. With insurgency, we've come for the past 12 years, with banditry again the last 5 or so 6 years. So you could say that maybe we should tarry a while and watch them. But because of the anonymity of the crisis, because of the sacrifice the soldiers, the agencies are making, it's okay to celebrate them at every achievement, really, because, that could probably encourage them. That's the only thing they need. Their morale have to be boosted. Yes, have to be boosted, not just in the part of government, but the part of the citizens, But whether or not they are going to hell is a discourse in eschatology. That's a different ballgame. But what we're interested in is that they should just be taken out, so that we can have peace and concentrate on our regular life.
Wherever they want to go, or wherever they're going, they can as well go. But let's have safety. And
that's right.
Thank you so much, Rise analyst Abiodun Adeniyi, the lecturer at Baze University, for being on the program.
Thank you.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.